Do I recommend harnesses for healthy dogs at all? Sure. And he says, my stand on this subject is that if your dog doesn't pull, you don't need a harness. Well, the harness can just be that maybe the dog needs more body support. So the dog may not pull, but if the dog is weak, the harness is more like a saddle where it distributes weight over a larger area. So you have to think about where you're pulling from, and I don't want to use the word pull, but where the connection is from the dog's body to the leash that goes to your arm. So you're going along and then you're going to turn, and maybe the dog, I've seen people do this where they're yakking and they're not paying attention to where the dog is, and they turn and they just like pull the dog around really fast. Well, for an older body, your leverage point now is only at the neck if you're not using a harness. And so the rest of their body moves more. The point of that center point, the fulcrum of motion, is based on where you're attached to them. So if it's only at the neck and you pull, that whole rear end is swinging more. It's at more of an effect versus if you're connected in the middle and that's where you're pulling from, you can guide that rear end. So these older individuals, they're already having difficulty with those messages and signals getting to the rear end. And it's more difficult for them also, their reaction time takes longer. So they can't like hop to it as quick as they used to. So having the harness is key because it allows you to have a center point closer to their center of gravity, which is gentler and kinder on motion when you're moving. Also, some of those that have the handle that you can pick up a little bit as you're going, as long as like you're not super tall and the dog's super short. But on some of those where you're out walking and they're starting to get tired and then they start dragging their feet because they're more tired and you didn't realize they were going to get tired that quick, but you still got to get home. So either you got to pick them up and carry them to help. Maybe you can't carry them because they're too big. But if you have those ones with a harness that has enough tummy application that you can lift them a little bit, you take a lot of pounds off of their weight. So I've done this before with the big scale at the clinic and then showed the pet parent the dog with the harness that when you pick up, like we could take a dog that was 80 pounds and it wasn't that much of us, like not much effort on my part to pull up just enough that the dog's weight would drop from 60 down to like 47 pounds. And so that's a lot on their feet that they're not having to manage against gravity. So now they can go further. They can lift their legs up better because they've got help. So those would be the reasons to use a harness on a dog that, even though they're not pulling, that you would want that benefit of having a harness.
Degenerative myelopathy is a disease affecting the spinal cord, resulting in slowly progressive hind limb weakness and paralysis. Sadly, there is no cure for canine degenerative myelopathy. Here are some suggestions from Dr. Eva Frick on how to keep your dog comfortable and mobile for as long as possible.